Hi and welcome to the Vegan Corner. Pumpkin and rice? Together? If you aren't already sold, I don't know what you have been eating so far. Some combinations are just better than others, and this one certainly is. However, mixing two ingredients you like together doesn't necessarily have to produce something special. Yes, banana garlic bread, I'm referring to you. But in this case, the success was almost immediate. To begin with, we need to preheat the oven to 200 degrees Celsius or 390 degrees Fahrenheit and to clean the pumpkin. Since we are using a butternut squash, we'll start by cutting it in half and scooping out the seeds using a spoon. Once that's done, you also want to remove some of the pulp from the halves, so that you create some space to accommodate the rice later on. We use this kind of squash because it seems to be one of the most readily available around the world. However, if you can't find it, feel free to use any other squash or pumpkin of a size suitable for this recipe. If the only fruits you can find are those so big that you could feed an elephant, you might want to consider the possibility of serving the rice and the pumpkin separately, which will totally defeat the purpose of calling this dish stuffed pumpkin, but it will also give you the exact same pleasure on the palate. Now, place the clean halves onto a baking tray lined with greaseproof paper, place a rosemary sprig in each half and bake them for about 30 minutes or until properly cooked. For the rice, simply cook it as instructed on the packet. Now, let's move on to the filling. Dice the onion, roughly chop the parts of the pumpkin you removed earlier, and we are ready for the cooking process. Place a pan, preferably non-stick, over a medium heat. Tip in the onions, a touch of water, and cook the onions for about 2 minutes or until translucent. Next, add in the pumpkin pieces and cook the ingredients together for another 5 minutes or until the pumpkin is thoroughly cooked. You can add more water if you think it is needed, but try not to end up with a soup. Now you can add in the other ingredients, the olives, the prepared horseradish and the parsley, and stir them in. We have a recipe for the horseradish, which is linked below and in the cards, and you will also find some substitutions in the description below the video. The next step is to add the rice to the pan and stir it in to complete the filling. Also remember to taste the final filling and adjust the salt if necessary. As soon as the pumpkin is cooked, you simply have to remove the rosemary from inside and fill the halves with the rice to complete the recipe. We are not going to place the filled pumpkin back in the oven, as it would be an unnecessary step and it would also dry out the rice. This step is generally useful when you have some cheese to melt or some fatty ingredients that will keep the rice moist. So unless you are planning to use any of these ingredients to enrich the dish, the preparation is complete. And here is the final pumpkin. Before filming this recipe tutorial, we enjoyed this dish on a daily basis for a full week. And let me tell you that the only word I could think of during those days was more. If you enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up before moving on and subscribe if you haven't already. Many thanks for watching and on to the next video.